beauties. Now we're going to go into our hip flicks. Now, I really like to keep my knees nice and relaxed when I'm doing my hip flicks. I like to keep my posture beautiful and open yet grounded at the same time. And I really want you to keep soft in your feet and your knees when you're doing this. When we're doing our hip flick, the movement is coming from our knee and coming up into our hips. And we're doing a little transfer of weight when we do this. So you will notice that when we do transfer our weight over to the side to go into that hip flick, my knee is slightly straightening, but we never lock our knees out. So 1, 2, you can see that even though I have my hip extended up and my foot is flat, I still have a slight bend in my knee. And the reason we do this is to protect our knees and make sure that we don't cause ourselves any further injuries. You might find a little bit of a stretch up here or in your hip flexors and your ITB bands here, and that's normal. And that movement, the more you do this, the more those muscles are going to loosen up and you'll get more comfortable with it. So 1, when our hip comes out, our weight's over into our heel. As we bring our hip back in, it comes back to our center line. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. What you can do here is you can do the double, so you can go flick, flick. When you are doing a double, you're keeping your weight on that right foot and you're using your knee, you're bending your knee and then extending it to create that flick. It's a bit like, I know I mentioned in our class, when you're closing the car door. If you want to put more of an emphasis on that hip and give it a real shimmy on the end, boom. You're really going to push into that hip and give it your own attitude and momentum. On the other side, it's the exact same. Push, push. So when I'm doing this, I'm keeping my knees nice and soft, and I'm literally transferring my weight over onto that left-hand side. But I'm not lifting my foot at this stage. So it's flat foot, flat foot, flat foot, flat foot, double time. 1, 2, 1, 2. So you can see here when I'm doing 2 on each side, I've got that weight transfer and I'm keeping the weight on the side that I'm doing that flick. And as soon as I go to the other side, I do that weight transfer and go straight into the flick. There's no hesitation. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. When we're going to travel with this, what we're creating is a slightly forward diagonal flick. So rather than our energy going straight out to the side, we're directing that energy from our hip on the front diagonal. And this helps us to propel forward. So 1, 2, 1, 2. We also create a little step in there. So when we're doing the flick part on that one side, our foot is grounded on the floor. So flick, flick. As soon as we finish that last one, we put all of our weight on that side and on that foot so that our other foot is free to take a little step. And when I say a little step, it's only like a third of a step, so it's very tiny. As we transfer our weight onto that foot, we go straight into those hip pushes on the front diagonal. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You can keep your arms in the ballet position and you can alternate them like this if you wish, or you can just hold them here. Now, I'm going to try that with the music so you can see. And if you want a little challenge, you can do the same thing back, but we're directing the energy of our hips backwards on the diagonal. 1, 2. back, forward and back. We're keeping them nice and soft. We're going to transfer our weight back into our heels. The rule is in belly dancing, wherever your weight is where the shimmy comes from. So we're keeping this nice and loose our knees, and then we're going to actually squeeze our glutes together. And we're going to keep our posture beautiful. When we squeeze our glutes together, it comes up in our body and creates more of a vibration. So we've got our shimmy. Beautiful. Fantastic. Let's put that on. And we can do our shoulder